Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the news on Équinoxe Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the coronavirus pandemic continues engulfing the Republic of Cameroon and quickly moving from the urban centers into the rural areas. The Mbaman-Kim division in the central region of the country has recorded its first 2 cases, and the COVID-19 figures are rising at a time when the World Health Organization is warning that the coronavirus pandemic is accelerating on the African continent. Also in these newscasts, we should talk about workers of the Nextel mobile telephone company who have gone on strike protesting in the Douala, Bamenda and other parts of the country against irregularities and what they consider as poor treatment by the management of that company. And we shall also talk about floods. Inhabitants of Cameroon's economic capital Douala calling on municipal and administrative authorities to save them from floods as the rainy season deepens. Several neighborhoods in Douala were over flooded last night following a heavy downpour. Stay with us. Floods has been a constant problem in several parts of the Republic of Cameroon, especially during the rainy season. And as the rainy season deepens, inhabitants of the town of Douala are now sending distress calls to municipal and administrative authorities to save them from the recurring floods that often come along with enormous material damage and even loss of human lives. Last night, the Douala 4 subdivision, many parts of the Douala 4 subdivision were over flooded following a heavy downpour. Manjik and Gabriel reports.
It was a very difficult Thursday for students and pupils going to school and other road users in the Douala 4 subdivision. The main road leading to the government school Mabanda was flooded due to heavy downpour that Douala witnessed in the early hours of Thursday. At Foreba, a bridge that was expected to help the inhabitants during rainy season was covered by the runoff.
The road may be constructed, but they not canalize the water.
The road was well constructed, but the water wasn't directed to the river. At this place, those who constructed failed because they were supposed to lift the bridge in a way that when it rains, water will pass under.
They down valley and water will always stand here whenever ocean tide comes.
The problem of drainage has been blamed to be the major cause of this flood. Pupils in a private primary school were also forced to use their day to clean up water that was entering their class. Strange, the head teacher tells us.
The one that we first time for see how water day for.
It's the first time we observe such sad situation in school because the rain was too heavy and the runoff was enormous. Apart from the water visiting schools, several houses were also inundated, properties soaked.
Rain.
Yes. The population say it's lack of drainage that caused the inundation.
I want really beg government because
I'm begging on the authorities to keep their words after promising us on several occasions that they will construct drainage. Water will be our main trouble here. Everything in the house is wet and no way to go out. Let the government construct drainages for us because the bridge they made was very low.
all they don't come claim now for here where I just beg.
The population are now calling on the authorities to act quickly before the rainy season gains steam.
Workers of Nextel Cameroon mobile telephone company decline poor working conditions and non-respect of labor conventions and contract terms. They went protesting today in front of the headquarters of the company in Accra, Douala, and also in Bamenda, and they are standing against a projected salary decrease. Details in this report by Fomi Armstrong Sanda.
The protest demonstration of workers of Nextel Cameroon began in the early hours of Thursday, June the 10, 2020 at the company head office in Douala. In a peaceful manner, workers displayed placards with messages summarizing their grievances.
We are asking our employer to respect our rights. First of all, the collective agreement for telecommunication is not being respected in our company, so we want our employee to respect that. We also want that we should put in place risk premiums for those of our colleagues in the Northwest and in the Southwest. We all know the situation that is going on there. And we also ask for better working conditions for all our employers, for all the employees, in this company. And we also ask that those conditions that we are asking are being respected so that we can work as employees to take the company forward.
Besides asking for working conditions to better their lives, the workers say they also want to step up production in order to maximize income for the company.
You know, when you are not when you're not having a better working conditions to work, it's very difficult for you to give in 100%. Like for example, we have offices where there are no air conditioning, especially in the marketing hall, where it is the engine of the company. We work under heat, and it makes it difficult for us to be 100% productive.
The decision to protest, according to the workers, comes as a last resort after efforts to negotiate with management failed.
There are so many things that we have been reclaiming from our employer for the past 3 months, of which he has not responded positive to them. But you know, before every strike is taken action, we have tried everything to have an amicable discussion with our employer. So all the legal procedures have been followed to make sure that we are in accordance with the law. So if you see us this morning here, it's because our employer hasn't responded positive to these reclamations. So you see, most of us that are here, we are more than 6 and 7 years respectively in this company. And our rights as employees have not been duly respected. So
Nextel workers say they are also standing against a projected salary decrease by 50%, though the information remains unofficial. This is coming after a study from the National Institute of Statistics recommended that the government of Cameroon negotiate with private sector companies in order to stop any projected salary decrease or the laying off of workers during the coronavirus period.
Officials of Nextel, Cameroon mobile telecommunication company, say that all the revendications of the angry workers are illegal, and according to the legal advisor of Nextel Cameroon, there has been no intention to cut the salaries of the workers, and that the point of poor working conditions is not true. According to him, the Nextel mobile telecommunication company is just waiting for this period of the COVID-19 crisis to be over so that personnel representatives can be appointed. This is one of the demands of the angry workers, and the company is simply indicating that all the protest move as a whole is illegal. Now we take some COVID-19 news. Those were images of the COVID-19 or the protests of Nextel workers in the town of Bamenda in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, and they are also demanding for better working conditions. They are equally demanding that personnel representatives should be elected, and they are also decrying the projected salary a decrease. However, the management of the company has responded by saying that there will be no decrease in the salary of workers of Nextel, and that the working conditions are good enough, and that even though there has been no personnel representative since 2013, the personnel representatives will be elected after this period of the COVID-19 crisis. Now on to something else. We take news on the coronavirus pandemic in the Republic of Cameroon. The country is now counting at least 8,743 confirmed cases of COVID-19. 5,400 persons have been successfully treated of COVID-19, and 270 have died. And the COVID-19 pandemic continues engulfing the country, fast moving from the urban centers into the hinterlands. The Mbam-Kim division in the central region of Cameroon has recorded its first 2 cases. Details in this report.
Spurred for a long time, the Mbam-Kim division of the central region is finally hit by the coronavirus pandemic. In the Osombe village, notably in Tui, 2 first COVID-19 cases were registered.
La COVID-19 est entrée, nous avons 2 cas déjà.
In reality, they are 2 individuals from the same family. A girl contaminated by her mother. The girl went for her father's burial. When her mother developed fever, she went for her care. While at the Jongolo hospital in Yaoundé, some tests were conducted, but nothing said. Last Friday, the woman announced that Centre Pasteur declared her positive.
1er juin, elle est arrivée. Elle a bien déterminé qu'elle était un peu souffrante et elle a raconté ce qui s'est passé.
In the Mbam-Kim division, panic reigns since the first 2 coronavirus cases were detected. The populations in fear are now rushing to health centers to be tested. We are here to be certain we are safe because we don't know who we have come in contact with, who came in contact with her. Since then, sensitization has intensified. On the other hand, geared by officials of the tourism sector.
Le secteur du tourisme est un secteur clé.
To them, the sector is mostly frequented by visitors who thus need to be sensitized over and over on need to respect barrier measures and hygiene rules put in place by government.
Les mesures barrières dictées par le gouvernement.
Amongst these measures is the obligatory wearing of face masks, closely monitored by the mayor of Ntui.
J'ai signé l'arrêté municipal rendant le port obligatoire dans tous les lieux publics dans la commune d'Ntui. Nous avons également mis en branle la construction des banderoles.
If the central region is the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon, the Mbam-Kim division, for a long time exempted from affected divisions, finally records its first 2 contagious cases.
Innocent reporting there, and the first vice president of the Social Democratic Front, Honorable O.C. Joshua, has said all must put hands on deck to fight the coronavirus pandemic. He was speaking to a colleague in Yaoundé on the sidelines of the ongoing June session of the National Assembly, June session of Parliament, and it is the first time that the members of Parliament and senators are meeting in the same place as a result of the fire that destroyed a section of the hemicycle in Ngwaikele. O.C. Joshua spoke to our colleagues in Yaoundé. Take a listen.
Note that the COVID-19 is a fight that everyone has to participate in, whatever your partisan lineage is, wherever you come from. It is a serious crisis, and we have to give everything we have to eradicate it out of Cameroon and to help those suffering from the consequences of this COVID-19.
Honorable O.C. Joshua, first Vice President of the Social Democratic Front, speaking there to our reporters in Yaoundé on the sidelines of the ongoing June session of Parliament. And now we are taking you to Banga in the Mongo Division littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, where some health workers are raising the problem of inadequate equipment in health amenities in the Republic of Cameroon, especially at this point in time when there is a health crisis hitting the 10 regions of the country. Many of the health amenities are poorly equipped and the health personnel not well protected. Details with Immaculate Faway.
District Hospital in the Mongo Division is located few kilometers away from the National Road number 5. Its proximity to the road, noted for frequent accidents, has made it a center for accident victims. But the health establishment lacks the necessary equipment that is meant to take care of these patients. The Banga District Hospital is not well equipped. Most patients with severe cases have to be transferred to the Monkupe Hospital for treatment. While the coronavirus is busy killing people, the government is there purchasing vehicles for members of parliament. The lone ambulance that was used to transport patients has been on breakdown for the past 3 years. The health personnel are calling for government support, especially now that the world is facing a health crisis which has made work extremely difficult. In case we have a COVID-19 case, we don't have the means to transport them to centers taking care of COVID-19 patients in Douala. If we don't take the situation seriously, then we will face difficulties in the days ahead. We need more surgeons here, given the fact that we are located in an area that records a lot of accidents. However, health personnel have maintained that the structure needs the intervention of the government in order to be adequately equipped.
We're still talking about coronavirus now out of the country. The World Health Organization says that the coronavirus pandemic is accelerating in Africa. WHO's Africa Regional Director Matshidiso Moiti said it was spreading beyond capital cities and that lack of tests and other supplies was hampering responses. She, however, added that it did not seem as if severe cases and deaths were being missed by authorities. So far, Africa has been the continent least affected by COVID-19. Overall, there have been more than 7.3 million infections globally and more than 416,000 deaths. Dr. Moiti said that Africa had some 200,000 cases and 5,000 deaths, with 10 countries accounting for 75% of the cases, according to her. Even though these figures in Africa account for less than 3% of the global total, it is clear that the pandemic is accelerating on the continent. She warned the cases were likely to continue increasing in Africa. And the WHO Africa Regional Director Dr. Moiti told a briefing of the WHO headquarters in Geneva that South Africa had more than a quarter of the reported cases and was seeing higher numbers of confirmed cases and deaths in Eastern Cape and Western Cape provinces. The country has one of the most advanced healthcare systems in Africa, but there are fears that a steep rise in case could overwhelm it, and South Africa's government has been praised for its early and decisive imposition of lockdown, but the easing of restrictions in June has been accompanied by a rise in infections, and South Africa is counting more than 55,421 COVID-19 cases, 1,210 deaths, and at least 31,505 persons have been successfully treated in the country. That's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Our guest, King Michael, a politician, is joining us from the United States of America. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us today. All right, you're joining us from the United States of America. Let's begin with a view of the situation over there. What's the situation where you are as far as COVID-19 is concerned?
Gradually, the official
Now, to your back home, the situation has continued deteriorating with the figures increasing. Cameroon is now counting close to 9,000 COVID-19 cases, and it is fast spreading. The virus is fast spreading from the capital cities into the hinterlands. As a politician, what's your take on government's management of this crisis?
I think from the measures which welcomed by the population, the economy will not be happy. So we are surprised. I think why some of these measures because I think we are not to advise. And on the contrary, I think one of the first marks and every one of our local population to be very the first mark. Most times we use very important we don't spend much. Spend that consumption. I tried local products that
we're sorry for the poor sound quality. We're sorry for the poor sound quality, and King Michael is a politician, former mayor of Muyuka in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, joining us from the United States of America. And when you look at, yes, we are getting you 5 on 5. When you look at the way in which the pandemic is spreading within the communities, and the measures that have been taken so far, and notably within the notably concerning the aspect of communication and sensitization, there are some experts who are indicating that there is need to intensify sensitization within the communities in the hinterlands, getting to the remote areas of the country and talking to the people living in their local languages. Do you think that if government should do something in this aspect?
I just wanted to jump into that. Constitution is an essential aspect of every ceremony and here. It is due to that about the local way of communicating. We need to talk. It's supposed to be the council. Now the council didn't mean the local We are only to do everything.
All right. Mayor King Michael, former mayor of Muyuka subdivision in the southwest region of Cameroon, and politician joining us there from the United States. It's unfortunate that we can't continue because of the poor communication system, and we have indications that the line is a little bit better now. King Michael, let's talk about the Anglophone crisis. You were the mayor of Muyuka in the southwest region of the country, and you were in the heat of the Anglophone crisis. Several months after the major national dialogue, the situation has continued deteriorating, with persons still killed, persons still abducted, destruction still going on, and even a journalist killed within the context of the Anglophone crisis. What's your take on the situation as of now and the evolution of that crisis?
Personally, I knew him, Mr. Busy. It's very, very unfortunate that it happened the way it happened. And I think those in charge, governors, should understand that you only govern when you have those to be governed. It's like in Cameroon, we feel that governors end with those who are on top governing. But that is not true. I mean, this is a young man who has a family. He is no longer there. Who's going to take care of that family? Those who even carried out the act, do they really reflect before doing such a thing? Do they really know that there is an Almighty up there who is seeing what they are doing, and they might pay for a day? And going back to the Anglophone crisis, as I said yesterday, I'm saying today, and I will say tomorrow, the solution is for both the government and the separatists to sit on a table and discuss. You don't discuss with your friends, you discuss with equally your enemies. And so, we've been there for more than 4 years. Every action has been taken to quell it down. We still see population drifting out from the villages. We still see bodies lying on the road. We still see, recently the mayor of Manville was killed, and many other things are happening. Why do we think we can use the military to solve the problem? The military, as I said, has never been there to fight against the local population. The military is there to fight against foreign intruders, not the Cameroonians. And so when you start using the military to go and fight Cameroonians, you are missing the point. So what is supposed to be done, and I still is dialogue. The form of the state, I don't care, but we should remember that the unity form of state did not solve the problem. Means we need to go out of that. Same thing as after the dialogue, they told us of special status. I have never heard that word, but we were waiting that something good might come out of it. Where are we today? And I said that if government can spend all this money to bring its sons and daughters together to discuss on the way forward for Cameroon, and it comes out to be nothing, then taxpayers' money has been wasted for nothing.
The major national dialogue, the major national dialogue brought together sons and daughters of the land from within and without, and it has apparently not brought solution to the crisis because it continues deepening on the ground, and some of the recommendations of the dialogue are being implemented, but you're still talking about dialogue, discussion with sons of the land. What other discussion? How should it take place? And why is it that another dialogue should be organized after this one that brought together sons and daughters of the land?
Yes, Mr. Babla. Yes, Mr. Babla, I will tell you something. Before the Grand National Dialogue, there was a pre-dialogue. To the best of my knowledge, it was not well handled. And so we missed a target that would have let us get out of the crisis because of egoism, or somebody wants to do something and thinking that he's doing it on behalf of Cameroonians. And so long as we don't want to acknowledge that the solution is for each and every one of us to sit on the table and carry out what we call negotiation, diplomacy, give and take, so that we arrive on something that could even be put into a referendum for Cameroonians to vote for, then I foresee a little bit of prolongation on what is going on.
Who should negotiate with who?
No, Mr. Babla, all of us, we shouldn't make as if we are not Cameroonians. The government is there, and you have the other side, the separatists. I don't know what. Give them, call them whatever you want to call them. But I think if you find out very well, you will see that the majority of English-speaking Cameroonians, the Anglophone, as you can call them, I think what they are going through, to be honest with you, is not only to the Anglophone, but they could have used the Anglophone crisis to resolve the too much centralization of power in Cameroon. There is too much centralization, Mr. Babla, whether I would like it or not.
Are you saying that the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, and other authorities should come sit on the same table with the separatist leaders, with Sisi Kwayuktabe, Dr. Sako, and all the rest on the same table to negotiate? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. The government has to select those who it believes would negotiate on behalf of the government, while on the other side, the separatists have to decide on who is supposed to negotiate on their behalf. And either they sit in Cameroon or they look for a neutral ground, and they carry out that give and take to come out with a solution. I want to be very honest with you.
Why a neutral ground?
Whether it is Switzerland, a neutral ground. I mean, you know that because of what happened with some of the leaders in Nigeria, where they were taken back to Cameroon when they were negotiating. Remember, there had been a negotiation going on between government and I think the leaders of teachers and lawyers. How do you, I mean, where Agbobala was part of.
The consortium.
There was a negotiation going on. The consortium, exactly. There was a negotiation going on with the consortium. And immediately the consortium disagreed with the government. What happened? They were cut off and locked in prison. We wouldn't have been where we are today. All what the consortium was demanding was a return to the federal states. They never said it was 2 states. They never said it was 10 states. I think the point that was missing was the negotiators of the government were supposed to say, we have heard, but we need time to come out with a solution to either decentralization or whatever people want. We couldn't have been where we are today. So that has been a lesson which nobody wants to get there. So if we are talking about negotiation, if we are honest to ourselves, let those who have been chosen as Cameroonians look for a neutral place out of the country, and they negotiate and they agree. It's a give and take, as I said. And they come back and inform us Cameroonians that this is what we have agreed, and we move on from there.
The national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Fundi, recently told me in the inside that both parties have to give in. The government gives in a bit, the separatists give in a bit, and then we arrived at a point of compromise. But when you look at the stance of the two parties, they are at the extremes. Nobody's ready to give in. What should be given in by government? What should be given in by the separatists for a compromise to be reached?
Well, Mr. Babla, this type of conflict, Cameroon is not the first that is taking place in. We have seen it in other countries. Yeah, I think Cameroon should set a model for the middle ground, which is either, hey, a federation or a confederation, where we still remain one, but everybody takes care of their local population, their local activities. It's all government that will have a central government that is there to monitor what is going on. But as I said, Mr. Babla, we have long passed the stage of two states. We have long passed that. I, for one, I foresee that if properly things are done the way it is, my suggestion would be either we go back to the 10 states we have now, or because also to form a state there are certain conditions that have to be made, we go back to the four state system or whatever. But I think it is out of good faith. If we do it out of good faith, Mr. Babla, we will succeed. Good faith is what matters. Because as of now, government is either doesn't have confidence with the separatists, and on the other side, the separatists doesn't have confidence with government. So I believe that there are some still good faith people in Cameroon which could be choosing to come out with a negotiable solution.
King Michael, the former mayor of Muyuka subdivision in the southwest region of Cameroon, politician joining us from the United States of America. Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome, Mr. Babla.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.